Conversations on Dance at the Vail Dance Festival is generously underwritten by the town of Vail. I'm Rebecca King Ferraro.
And I'm Michael Sean Breeden, and you're listening to Conversations on Dance. Calvin,
Great.
thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure having you on the podcast. We weren't scheduled to have a live interview with you at the Vail Dance Festival, so we thought we would just catch up on our own terms. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We know that we have limited time because you're so busy at the Vail Dance Festival, so we thought we'd just start with what happened in the past couple months. Met season is always a highlight of your year, and you got to have some debuts, and it's always an exciting moment. So give us a little bit of a taste of what your Met season was like.
Yeah, so Met season this year was pretty exciting. We had the return of Romeo and Juliet, which I danced with Catherine Herlin, and we're actually doing an excerpt of the Balcony Pas de Deux here in Vail. Did Prince Siegfried again at the Met with Christine Shevchenko, which was a lot of fun. Incredibly challenging, as always, the classics. And we had a chance to actually work with Wayne McGregor on his Wolfworks production, which is new for ABT this year. And we premiered it in Orange County earlier in the year, and then it came to the Met. And literally every night was a different experience because you play different parts in each of the acts. So you have different configurations, which was a lot of fun, and it kept it pretty fresh and exciting for everyone.
How does that work? Give us a little rundown of that. That sounds interesting.
So each act or part of the production is based on a different book by Virginia Woolf. And so Act 1 is more narrative, Act 2 is more abstract, and Act 3 is sort of like her saying goodbye to all of the loved ones in her life. So in Act 1, the more narrative role that I played was Septimus, who's a wounded, shell-shocked soldier from World War One. And then in Act 2, it's a completely different world. It's kind of like, I don't know, the scenic design is all like this black abyss with lasers and like it's like they explained it. It was sort of like this display of human virtuosity, and so there's really no narrative story to Act 2, but like different dancers come in and out of this black space, and they emerge through the lasers and the fog, and it's really, really cool. And then Act 3, I'm not a part of Act 3, but dancers that maybe were in Act 2 transition to Act 3, and there's just a lot of, like each night is a different experience for each dancer in the production.
Gotcha.
James White, you had 3 different stagers working on it. So who did you get to work with, and how did that end up all coming together? How are they? I'm wondering if they're all on the same page, because even though it's separate acts and they're different, relating to different narratives, like if it has to cohere as well.
Yeah. So Wayne's team, I mean, his partner, Antoine Vickerin, who was part of the process from day one, like all of Wayne's team each of them are on board, and they each know what they have to stage. So like one of the stagers was responsible for Act 1 and Act 3, and then 2 of them were responsible for Act 2 specifically, because that one's the most dance heavy act of the production. But they were all on one accord and all so lovely to work with. And they each had their task and mission to accomplish by the time we got to the stage. So yeah, it was great to work with them over the last 6 months, just kind of diving into the character stuff, but also the physicality of Wayne's movement, which is so extreme in some cases. Yeah.
I love Antoine, and I love watching him work. I was lucky. I was staging a ballet in Hong Kong while Antoine was working concurrently on Wayne's Chroma, which is, of course, a signature piece for Wayne. But it was so fun and exciting to watch Antoine break down the specificity of the style and movement especially as I'm working on something that is completely different from that. And I have to be specific for Justin's work, and then listening and just being like, this is so opposite of anything I would say right now. It's so can be kind of mind-boggling. And then you had Amanda Isles, who Rebecca and I worked with in Miami City Ballet, who can read notation, which is a huge boon to that task as well. So, but a very wholly different approach to staging from Antoine. So it's cool that you guys have got to see, got to have all those people come together on this massive project.
Yeah, and you know, they just I felt like they were just all so invested in making sure that we all had a great experience. There was also a dramaturg who came on who works closely with Wayne on all of his projects, who really just was there to answer any questions we had. And yeah, it just felt like a real investment in making sure that everybody was all hands in and wanted to bring this production to life for our audience in New York and California that don't get to really see ABT move in this way, which was really cool. So yeah, that was really exciting part of the season. And also I made my debut as Lenski and Onegin, opposite Cassandra Trineri. We danced together a lot over the years, which it's always such a joy. And so yeah, we debuted that together.
I got to see you performing that, and you were so beautiful. And I loved that your role had, it's not a villain, but you're not, it's like you're a antagonist to Onegin, to the title character. And so while I just love watching you be kind of yourself at anything, because you're just so elegant and charismatic, and I love watching you be Prince Calvin, it was fun to have shades of something else for you to play with, and to watch you do it so masterfully, in addition to the masterful technique that second act has. Like, that is brutal.
It's not easy. Yeah. And it's like you're dancing in a dark room with a strobe light in your face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous you got to see that, Michael. That sounds so fun. I would love to see that. It sounds like it was a hit and that you were very busy as usual. Let's talk about another place where you're very busy, here at the Vail Dance Festival. Tell us a little bit about what you've danced up to this point, what you're going to be dancing, and maybe how this year is like a little different than some of the other ones.
Yeah, so here at Vail this summer, I so far have done the up close performance where we sort of dive into the what goes into making a performance happen and sort of the history behind each of the ballets that we were doing as part of the festival. This year, I'll be performing in a new work. New work to me. It's a debut by Alvin Ailey, his Reflections in D. And it's just this really soulful and contemplative solo that he created. And I got to work with Masazumi Chaya, who was formerly with Ailey as the director there. And he was just such a bright light and positive reinforcement in the studio, working together. And he's seen so many of the greats at Ailey do this role, and to have that sort of encouragement to bring myself to this role and how I would interpret the movement. Like, he gave me the steps, but he was like, at the end of the day, it's you and the audience and the environment that you're performing in Vail. So bring yourself to the role. And that was super empowering. I'll be dancing with Katherine Herlin, as I mentioned, in Romeo and Juliet Balcony Pas. And Lauren Lovett and I will be dancing together in Balanchine Chacon Pas de Deux. Yeah, I'm excited about
that. Opening Pas de Deux with the hair down. Is that what? Okay.
Yeah, it's the hair down. It's very ethereal, very spiritual. You're floating on a cloud. And Lauren obviously makes dancing together so easy and effortless. So I'm excited to perform that. Audrey Sissoko and I will be dancing in Alonzo King's Epilogue Pas de Deux together, which we did last summer.
I was just gonna say, is that the one you did last summer? That was so beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Glad that's coming back.
The last thing that we've been working on pretty much every day since I got here is Pam Tanowitz. She's doing a new ballet for Isabella Boylston, Spencer, Melissa, and I. And it's just been such a fun process working with Pam again, because she was actually the first choreographer that I did anything here in Vail with. Like when my first summer in Vail, that was the only thing I did was a new work by Pam. So getting to reunite on that is really, really been fun.
Oh, fun. How many years later would that be? Oh gosh, hard to count maybe.
I want to say this is 9 years later.
9 yeah, that's so cool. Oh, what a
Decade.
nice experience. Yeah.
Almost a decade. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Coming up within just a couple of weeks, you'll be curating and co-producing a performance at the Joyce Theater, iconic Joyce Theater in New York City, and we want to hear all about it. So tell us
Yeah.
first about how this opportunity came to you.
Yeah, so in November of 2022, Ross LeClaire, who's a producer at the Joyce, and Danny G, who's the director of their programming, wanted to sit down and chat about this exciting opportunity to curate the ballet festival that I think the Joyce hadn't done it since 2019. So they were bringing it back this summer, and they were interested in hearing what my perspective was on ballet today and into the future. And so this opportunity came about, and I was immediately excited and overwhelmed at the thought of like, oh my gosh, I'm going all in on putting together a ballet festival. And so, with our schedule at ABT and other projects that happen throughout the year, like the time to really be intentional and wanting to make it the best that it can be, because it's kind of like my first premiere festival that I'm involved in and bringing this many artists to. So I really wanted to make it as robust and quite ambitious as I could be given this opportunity. And throughout the process, like all the work that I was doing on it, we were able to get the co-producer credit because, I had been learning so much about not just assembling the artists, but the back end of marketing and fundraising and all of the things that go into making dance come to the stage.
Right.
Really exciting, and working with the Joyce has been thrilling. But essentially, Unite, for me, throughout the process of planning, I wanted it to be a celebration of the long, bright line of ballet, and thinking about all of the artists and musicians and choreographers and just creative collaborators that I've had crossover with throughout the course of my career. I wanted to sort of bring all of these people and just positive forces and energy together to perform. And it's going to be 2 programs, over 8 performances. And it's really like at the heart of it, Unite is about community, and it's about the celebration of our collective humanity through dance. And so when I was thinking about the different ballets that I wanted to include, they all have some sort of reference to this idea of what makes us all human, the love that we share, the joy, the heartbreak, maybe, in some of these ballets, the beauty, all of these things. I wanted to make sure that I honored over the course of this long, bright line of ballet.
So
how long did you plan this for? Like, how long was this process?
Yes, so from the initial conversation in November of 2022, they initially
Oh my gosh.
wanted me to do this in the summer of 2023, and I was like, that would be amazing, but to really nail down all the artists, we having, I think, it's about 4 new works that are being created for the festival, and getting all the choreographers with existing works on board and all of the licensing and all of this. I really wanted to make sure that we gave ourselves the time that something like this would require. And of course, from that first rough draft of programming that I put in front of the team at the Joyce till now has definitely evolved with the dancers. And there's so many artists that I wanted to include in this iteration that I couldn't just because of scheduling or logistics. But my hope is that, with the success of something like this, it can go on and be produced for future summers to come, which would be really, really fun. But yeah, it's been about a year and a half in the making.
What were some of the first steps you had to take? Did you have to assemble programming, select the repertoire so that you could then figure out budget and dancer needs and schedules? Or what was that the first piece, or did something unexpected else factor in?
No, it was really, I think it started there. It was like sort of a research phase of like, who are some of the artists that I would dream, like a wish list of artists that I dreamed to bring to New York and perform and share programming and time with on stage. And then from there, once I kind of got through maybe 2 or 3 rough drafts of programming, we started out with 3 separate programs over 7 shows. And then we scaled it back to having 2 programs that just felt really intentional and strong and had a nice pacing to it. And then from there, we dove into sort of the budgeting logistics and who's coming to New York, who's based in New York that could potentially rehearse, and which choreographers are based in New York and which dancers we can get to work with them earlier in the year so that it's not a cram session right before the performances. So it was managing all of that to just make sure that everybody felt like they were truly uniting around this idea and felt confident going into it, that they were ready and just excited to share everything that they've been working on.
Right.
As I'm listening to this sounds a touch like a Vail Dance Festival a little bit. And after like 10 years being here, working with Damien and Heather, I wonder how that has to have influenced the way that you put this all together.
Oh, for sure. Coming to Vail, being part of this festival for the last almost decade, and seeing just how inspiring it is to bring together artists from all different corners of the world and different backgrounds and experiences. That was something that inspired me in this opportunity, that I really wanted to sort of take that torch and run with it, and of course honor everything that I've experienced here and in other places. It's definitely had a big impression on me, and I've just learned so much from Damien and Heather and everything that they do to make this festival what it is every year.
Maybe you want to give us a little preview of some of the people that are coming. I've had a glance over the casting, and I have my eye on some faves of mine that I get to see that are not New York regulars. So just tell us, of course, we have our ABT faves, your friends and family that you work with, Susan, that we always love to see. There are some exciting out-of-towners as well.
Absolutely. So, in addition to my ABT fam, there'll be 2 dancers from Boston Ballet, Kirsten Finchroy, who I'll be dancing Apollo Pas de Deux with, which I'm really excited about, and Tyson Clark, who Kirsten and Tyson are doing a new work by Mike Halstromeil from Boston Ballet. So he's making a new ballet for the 2 of them. I'm really excited about Alicia Walker, who she's at ABT. She's in the Corps de Ballet. She won the Young Creation Prize at the Prix de Lausanne in 2023, and she's creating a new solo on herself, accompanied by a violinist, Kobe Malkin, which is really, really exciting. That was something for me that I wanted to also include, is this element of live music throughout the process. Jacek Mashinsky, my husband, brilliant pianist. He'll be playing Razi, who's an incredible singer. She's coming in to do a suite of her songs with James and Isabella. 2 friends from the Paris Opera Ballet will be part of the festival, Sayum Park and Paul Mark. Gorgeous étoiles with the Paris Opera. I can't wait to see them perform Manon, Bedroom Pas de Deux, and Le Parc Pas de Deux. Herman Cornejo, of course, will be performing. Achi Sissoko, she's performing with her partner Schwab from Lions Ballet, Alonzo King's company, and she's also doing a solo that she created for Vail when she was the artist in residence, which I'm really, really excited to present. And it was really, really important as we kind of got further along in the process. I went to see the Youth America Grand Prix competition. It was their 25th anniversary this year. And there was a young dancer, Crystal Huang, who she's like all over social media and super talented. And she did this solo choreographed by Brady Farrar, who's in the ABT Studio Company. And I was like, I want to include a young dancer that's of the future, of the next generation. And YAGP was the competition that I did to get to ABT all those years ago. So having Crystal a part of the festival with all of us is just sort of that nod to the next generation. So really excited to have her coming into, because I know she's traveling all over the world this summer for all of her guestings and gigs, and to have her with us, really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's
so cool. That feels Vail coded too, to have a young, young person to come too.
Yeah.
It's so thoughtfully curated. I'm so excited to come. I'm going to be there opening night. So, and that you carved out a little bit of time for us today to talk about, because we know you're busy.
Thank you.
So quickly give us the dates and where we can go to get tickets.
Yeah, so Unite at the Joyce Theater in New York City will run from August 13th through the 18th. And you can get tickets at joyce.org.
Thanks, Calvin. We're sure this is just the first of many similar iterations, perhaps a directorship line.
That's what I was thinking too. I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, interesting.
I'm getting my feet wet. I'm dabbling. It's
what a great experience for that.
Yeah, I've learned so much. Like, it's so funny. Like, you think just being on stage is a lot. Like, it takes a village to put together just a performance, just a single performance. So, yeah, I'm excited.
All right, great. Calvin, thank you so much. We'll see you on stage soon here at the Vail Dance Festival. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. See you soon.
Conversations on Dance is part of the ACAST Creator Network. For more information, visit conversationsondancepod.com.